Hey guys, welcome yet again to another Loomian Legacy Sweep. I'm Mr. Lucky Luke. In today's one, we got ourselves a Cynamoth Sweep. Yes, people, we're back after a week of a little preparation and trying to get my hands of a Cynamoth Sweep. Not only that, I have also have been changing a little few things in my channel. A lot of few things that's gonna help my, I guess you could say, the channel grow a little better, and as well also help my channel, or not really help, but it's more saving the channel a lot more safer because I've had a lot of problems recently in the last few weeks, making some hard time decisions of changing my channel a little bit, since I've actually wanted to do this because it's a little important in order to make this channel like even possible. I know still my audio is still bad and it's gonna be that way for a while. I'm probably not even know if I'm gonna be able to fix it or not, but it's still what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, we're pretty much gonna just try ignore the whole negative audio in the back, but you know it's okay, it's okay. But anyways, besides that, moving on to this Loomian sweep. This is gonna be a Cynamoth sweep where we're gonna be using the newer model of Cynamoth. Now, if you haven't noticed, you get the new model. It originally looked a little weird. Actually, it has a little model here. You can see this base form. Okay, actually, we can zoom in here. Just ignore this. I don't know why I haven't done logged off on this account. I don't know why. But you can see right here, it looked a lot different back, and now it looks much better in this with this new design. I actually kind of like it. It definitely gets an upgrade. I can't wait for the Terrafly remodel. Definitely gonna they definitely gonna have to make a new model for Terrafly and even Grubby Evolution Line. They're probably gonna do it. But yeah, so we're gonna try and get myself a nice little sweep with Cynamoth and try and get a cool couple moveset. Now, looking at its stats, it's very like between there. Like it's an averagely has a alright stats for an early bug Loomian, but making this sweep and was kind of 50-50. Like it was a little complicated, but at the same time it has a little challenge into it. Now, for this sweep, we're gonna be running obviously the range attack set, since it has obviously melee attacking is gonna be amazing, if we can tell. It gets it has a 99 for range defense, 98 for range attack, 88 for speed, 85 for melee defense, 80 for energy, okay, 70 for health, and 55 for melee attack, which makes this thing obviously a speedy range attacker. Now, not only are we going to be obviously going to use the range attacker set, we're also going to be making use of its new move that got to when one of these newly move it gets. Sorry, I'm getting a little stroked there, but I'm not going to redo this whole thing just to mess up again. So yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, we're gonna make use of this newly move called Hasten. Now, what Hasten does is we can check right. We can see right. It's right here. Basically, it's kind of like Quiver Dance. Like basically, what it does, it gets a 1+ on range attack and speed. However, what it doesn't get, its special defense will increase, or range defense. Sorry. So basically Hasten gives you, basically it's like Quiver Dance, but it doesn't increase range defense. So it's kind of alright. It's a 50, that's an alright somewhere between it. And I wanted to try and get a little challenge with the set. And also we're going to be using, not only that, we're also going to try use its signature move, Mystical Breeze. Now, I have tried to get a couple sweeps with using its signature move, trying to get its using it has its second, try to get its secondary effect and try to get a sweep with it. However, we didn't sadly get any of that, so I'm just gonna get this out of the way, since it's really it's a problem, because if you don't know what Mystical Breeze does, what it does here is it uses the user kicks up a dust storm at the target, which may increase the user's speed by 1 stage, which kind of makes Hasten a little, well, it's a little bit of like it's like unnecessary, because you might, I mean, it has a chance, so it really makes the whole increasing the speed, not worth it. So you might want to use something else. But for today's sweep, we're just going to use this move for our signature move. That's really all we're going to try. And also gets a little challenge because only having a 60 base strength makes this Loomian, it makes this move kind of difficult since well, its other move that usually what people prefer run are Pharaoh Blast instead. So you can definitely have that. But for today, we're going to use Haste and Mystical Breeze for this challenge. And also try to get a little combination move. We're trying to use this one. Now, today's sweep, we are going to try do basically all we can. And we even got a couple movesets with it. Trying to use of this very, very totally not broken Loomian. And hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. Also, I'm not feeling very today because I haven't slept kind of very good recently, so I'm not feeling that energetic today while I'm making this recording. So I'm sorry about it. You'll figure out. It'll eventually wear off by the end of this recording, but it's just probably just for today. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the first battle, and hope you guys and girls enjoy today's video. Alright, so let's jump into the first battle here, as I completely forgot about talking about its abilities. I don't know why I just completely forgot about them, but I just did. I actually don't know why I completely forgot of its ability. I was gonna start talking about it before mentioning its new design, but it just happened, I guess you could say. Whoops-a-daisy, I did something mistaken. Anyways, so we got a battle against this user here, and he has a bonery. Also, the ability the Cynamoth gets is Mystical Toxin and Flutter. They're not really that good. I mean, Mystical Toxin is probably the better option. Flutter is like okay as long as you don't face any powder Loomians, because Flutter only has Flutter, the secret ability for Cynamoth, only works, gets immunity to any powder moves. That's really it. But today we're just gonna run its Mystical Toxins, just because, well, it's kind of a little better anyways. But anyways, so I'm gonna go to swap back and forward, use a little bob on my Gobademic. Did not need to use bobs actually in this sweep. I just really wanted to try and see if I can manage to at least damage a little bit to the opponent. Not needed, but it's just a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna go for the Boom Bash as Cynamoth, the new design Cynamoth, which, by the way, do you people actually like Cynamoth's new design? Let me know in the comments below. If it looks good, if it looks bad, who knows? That's totally up to you. Anyways, we're gonna go for the tribute and swap into the mighty, strong Cynamoth. Enjoy the sweep. Well, that one's actually pretty nice. I managed to get a sweep that one. However, I wanted to try another go and try this out again since, to be honest, people, I actually have to admit with y'all, originally I actually had a fail, but it was so miserably bad it actually deserved another try, and I actually got a sweep with it instead. So originally I had a fail, but actually just kind of swapped that fail to another sweep, and that is this one right here. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. Now, this thing, like I said, this Cynamoth is actually not super powerful, but it does gonna need to use a couple of hasten in order to get an actual sweep. Now we got a battle against this user here. We got a Valkyrie here against my Geklo. All I have to do is set up a little tase, paralyze the opponent, and get a crit, of course. Which, by the way, crits matter. This is sweep. I definitely do need that. As Valkyrie is pretty complicated to deal with, so I'm gonna go for a couple static shock just to do a little small damage. As it's gonna go for the Holy Slash and go for another. It gets a crit. It definitely deserves to get a crit. So yeah. So anyways, now I'm gonna go for the Faint Me, aka Gabademic, and set up a little bobs. Doesn't really need to. I mean, like I said, it did not generally need these bobs. All I kind of wanted to do is get a nice swap in order to get the sweep, because, I mean, then again, I could just swap into my Important or Empire and just go for a Tribute so I can get a nice swap. However, I do want to just get for a couple bobs, just in case, if the rest of the Loomians are not, as long as they're not super tanky. And they're going to go for the Lush Salute, and I'm going to live on 69 HP. Guys, I'm not putting up a merch just because of that. So yeah, now I'm going to go for another Luster Loot as I'm going to drain most of my energy as I lived pretty nicely. I'm going to go for a bunch of Gobble or Gooble Boop. Gobble Boop? A Gobble Goop. Feels like some sort of weird bubble gum, kind of. Anyways, so I'm going to go for the Luster Loot, and I lived on 1 HP. Literally, I didn't... That's not 2 HP, guys. That's not my lucky 2 HP. But seriously, I did not need to live on 2 HP in order to do this. It did not require me at all. However, I did go for another Gobble Goop. And all I have to do now is go for a couple bobs. And that is pretty much Gabademic's job. I mean, didn't really need to, like I said, did not need to use any bobs in the sweep. I just needed it so the opponent could just take my Gabademic out. And they're going to go for the Holy Slash, or not Holy, go to Holy Slash. They're going to use Holy Slash. I'm sorry, I'm talking weirdly now. And now I'm going to go for the Important and swap, get myself a nice little swap into Cynamoth by using Tribute. So hope you enjoyed this one. Again, we're going to give you a full explanation of the strategy at the end of the sweep. And for now, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed today's Cynamoth sweep there, and let's take a look at the Cynamoth strategy that I kind of run for this sweep. Now for today, we run a very frail, smart, nimble set, obviously for the most common Cynamoth sets. And to be honest guys, not gonna lie, I actually had a huge like problem with the rally ranch, or the rally ranch had a huge problem with it just not giving me the actual rally, like the actual personality. Like I spent like, I would say like at least a week when I started doing this grind, around, or maybe like half of a week at least, maybe like 4 or 5 days or so, and the game just wouldn't give me any rallyable personality that I want. It gave me bulk. It gave me like, I think it gave me like very brawny. Not very bright. A brawny, very clumsy, nimble, and they give me like brawny, smart, very slushy set. Like it gave me the opposite. It was getting annoying, but eventually I actually got it. But anyways, moving on. Now that this Cynamoth is obviously a very frail, smart, nimble sets for the most common Cynamoth's personalities that most people run. We ran this one as a mystical toxin set, which I mean it's, well, let's be honest, it's the better option anyways than Flutter. For the moveset we gave it was Hasten, Mystical Breeze, Life Drain, and Air Blade. We also gave it the Rage plushie for a little sneaky surprise for anyone who wants to spam any super effective moves on my Cynamoth. So you can use Hasten, get a +1, and then if the opponent goes for any super effective move with those status drop, obviously they're not gonna do nothing, and I'm gonna manage to get a +1 on speed and +3 on range attack, as well as gonna go for another one, which make it a +4 and +2 on speed, +4 on range attack and +2 on speed. If they do swap it out. If they don't, then that'll be another boost, obviously, for Cynamoth, which makes this thing kind of powerful. Not super powerful as you expect most sweeping Loomians, but pretty solid powerful. We got Hasten, obviously, for our little move that we was gonna run. For this, it also. I'm almost having another stroke. A moment here, guys. I'm gonna have another stroke. I really need to stop doing it. Anyways, we also we had Hasten for basically a little move here. You can actually change Hasten for Magnify if you want to run something more range attacking boost. Like you can run a Magnify, it's a better option if you want to not rely on too much of speed. But if you're gonna use Magnify, you're definitely gonna need to run Banana Split on the opponent. You're gonna have to give the opponent the Banana Split. Let's just say that. Otherwise, this thing is not a very fast Loomian. For the TPs that I run were a little somewhere between complicated to run, like a certain amount of healthy and range attacking bulk, or range defensively bulk. Let's say that. We give this one max range attack, 72 for energy, 48 for health. Give it a solid little withstanding attacks. Also 40 for range defense, give it a nice little bulk. We run also 166, making this thing actually very solid fast, but not very fast. You actually don't need to run max speed in order to outpower through the opponent, because if you run max speed, you won't be able to hit hard enough to actually or withstanding too much attack. I mean, 166 makes you pretty fast. And with like +3 or 4, you pretty much outspeed every Loomian in the game. Doesn't matter what Loomian it is, you're just outspeeding everything. And with +2, you can actually pretty much outspeed very big speedy threats, most of them at least. Now, Cynamoth with this strategy, it still has a few counters, even though if it looks like it has a broken strategy, you can see here. It has a very big counter. I would say recommend you to have to be worried about most likely. The biggest counter is it has a way big weakness to Ice type, which by the way, the fails that I actually got on the sweep, actually had a huge counter, or has a huge fail with me facing a bunch of ice types. One of them was a Himber, and the other one was a Glaciadia. I think it was. Let me just double check so I know who I'm talking to. Glaciadia, yeah. So I actually had a very potential good chance to sweep them, but the opponent's Glaciadia, actually, or most of the Glaciadia that I versus, was actually able to tank my Cynamoth's attack, and you know, it just goes pretty much down. Another big huge counter is basically an insta wall. Would be recommend you use a Wobelisk. Wobelisk in this game with Ignorant basically has it shuts down the sweep. It doesn't matter what type of, like, it doesn't matter how much stats you have on this thing. You're just done. It's over. It's over. One Frost Beam or Frost Punch, most likely I think one of them, you're pretty much gone. It doesn't matter what you're running. It's gone. All right, it's gone. Like, I've already tried it most battles, and I would say Cynamoth's 4 times weakness against ice, it makes this thing very, very weak. Besides that, you just have to go for a bunch of haste and outspeed the opponent, and make sure you can hit it more than enough to actually one-shot them. For the second battle, we actually almost one-shot most of the Loomians. We actually managed to get a couple KOs. Actually got all the KOs. The opponent managed to live very, very rarely, let's just say that. The first battle, we actually got to use the Mystical Toxins as our ability, but the second one we didn't. But it actually really kind of cool because we actually got to see the first time ever using Mystical Toxin in a sweep. On the Cynamoth, which used the Raging Tackle, put that to sleep, and I was managed to get a hasten and a nice little rest, and pretty much swept them for the rest after that. The second battle, we actually got a pretty big counter already for the threats of his Loomians. One of the counters that could have actually ended the sweep was that Stratesaurus. If that thing had a Soul Burst, if it went for a Soul Burst, or if it went for a Soul Burst Airstrike, that actually would have taken me out more than enough, even with this little small bulk. It just goes down with one air. I don't think it would not withstand anything. I don't think it would. I mean, probably would. I mean, when you saw that air blade, I mean, you saw that air blade right there. I mean, it was doing quite a lot of damage. And if you saw that air blade, if that air blade critted me also, I don't know if I would have won this battle. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it has a potential chance I would have probably lost. I don't know. It can change. I mean, we got a little lucky between 50-50 over there and over there. Let me see. Let me think. The Plasma actually did get a crit, even though it had very, very not that much a range attack in beginning with, which I have already done a Plasma sweep, and yeah, it doesn't have the greatest range attack. Only with 85 or 84, it's still not hitting that good. So you're gonna need a lot of range attack in order to make this thing hit very good. It has some nice speed and range defense, but it doesn't have the greatest on this range attack. So it's still a bit of a questionable stats, let's say that. Besides that, I mean, I lived that Thunderstorm plus Power Surge crit, which pretty nicely. Then afterwards, I was able to use Mystical Breeze, which I was gonna actually try to get a Mystical Breeze boost, but sadly failed, and that is kind of what happened. I wanted to try it. I mean, I couldn't go for the Air Blade and took it out, but I still wanted to try and use my Mystical Breeze to see how much damage I would have, how much it did with a resistant attack. And I did manage to do it pretty much nice, more than half almost. And pretty much took it out with 2 Mystical Breeze. Even though they're getting a boost, that's still a pretty solid damage with an actual resisted attack. Besides that, that is pretty much all the strategy I need to tell you guys. Like I said, you can change however you want the Cynamoth. You could definitely change this thing to more of more of a speedy set. You can change this thing to have max speed on this thing with Magnify and Mystical Breeze. If you want to use Mystical Breeze just to use its stat, like boosting its speed, you could definitely have that. But if you want to go for some more base power, you can change to Magnify and switch Mystical Breeze to, where is that, Blast, and make this kind of a set. Like, this could be a much better choice, if I be honest. It hits much better, and its speed is not super bad. Just make sure that you have the opponent by surprise by putting a little nice, little banana split, and then pretty much you're just getting a nice little. You'll pretty much will outspeed most of the things as long as you don't face any air types. You're pretty much set to go. But besides that, that is pretty much today's sweep. Hope you enjoyed today's one. Check out some of my other Loomian Legacy sweeps if you are new. Besides that, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching today's one. Hope you enjoyed this one. A lot of few changes are gonna, like I said, has gonna be happening in my channel, so you just have to keep an eye on. Make sure you subscribe, like the video if you want to, and keep an eye on my channel because I obviously don't know when I'll be uploading or posting anything in my channel. Make sure you, if you want to do it, that's up to you. Besides that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make any Loomian Legacy sweep for a while. I don't know if I will. I don't know what to sweep with next. If you have any recommendation of what you want me to sweep with next, you can just tell me in the comments if you want me to sweep with a certain Loomian. I can definitely give it a go and try it out. Besides that, that is it. Thank you guys for watching today's one. Hope you enjoyed this one. Stay lucky out there and take care.